everybody? Shauna D-Man here. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you guys had yourselves a great week. Getting ready for the weekend. We are back with episode 2 of the Auburn Podcast, hosted by Shauna D-Man. And I wanted to get another episode out because I was thinking about it. I was like, originally in episode 1, I was like, am I going to put out one for Saturday or Sunday? But I decided to do it this way. You're still going to get an extra one, which will cover the Auburn basketball game against Missouri. That is tomorrow afternoon. But I wanted to do this video because I didn't talk about the Auburn basketball side of things in that first video. It was just mainly football related. But listen, Bruce Pearl has done a very impressive job with this year's roster for the Auburn men's basketball program. And you know, you get to the offseason after Auburn loses to Yale in the first round of the tournament. You get to the offseason, you had some guys kind of like, actually, I don't think you had that many. You obviously had Aiden Holloway transfer out, Trey Donaldson transfer out. I don't think Katie Johnson transfer out. I don't think you had anybody else transfer out. I think that's pretty much it. There was also, Janai Broom, Dylan Carwell, some of these guys who could have came back or could have gone pro. Janai Broom definitely could have gone pro, but obviously he decided to come back. I'm sure there was like NIL related things that also helped out and made up the decision to come back a little bit easier. But you go out, Bruce Park goes out, and he gets the Hod Patterford and Jakai Howard out of the high school ranks. Portal-wise, he brings in a bunch of seniors, J.P. Pegues, Miles Kelly. Miles K.J. Pegues. Am I missing somebody? Why do I feel like I'm missing somebody? Miles Kelly. Was it really not a lot? It felt like a lot just because it was just like a lot of guys, not on the roster at the time of bringing in guys. Because you got about 10, 11 guys. Most of them are seniors. Because Janai Broom's a senior, Dylan Carwell, Chad Baker-Mazzara, Chaney Johnson, Denver Jones, Miles Kelly, J.P. Pegues. I'm missing somebody. Okay, see, now I actually got to go and look because I'm like, I know I'm not crazy. I know I'm missing somebody on this Auburn basketball roster that I'm not thinking of at this moment. But while I look for that, so it's very interesting to see because Auburn this year, Auburn was definitely going to be a more senior-laden team compared to usually previous seasons. Yeah, where are you at? Where are you at? Oh, there we are. Let's see, what am I missing? Did I say Dylan Carwell? Let's see, who am I missing? Oh, Chris Moore. That's who I was missing. Chris Moore. Okay. I was like, I know I'm missing somebody. That's what it was. But anyway, we get to the season. Obviously, you have your exhibition game, cupcake, and all that stuff. And you handle business. Really, you get to the Maui Invitational, and that Invitational was chock full of pretty much teams that made a tournament last year. Houston, Iowa State, UConn, Dayton, North Carolina made the tournament last year. And Auburn basically just not wipes the floor with them. They just take them all out. And like you had the game against Houston, which was a very top tier premier matchup on ESPN. Houston got up. Auburn came back. That was definitely a Tahad Pettifer coming out party because he played amazing. And then you go into the second game against Iowa State. You handle them. You go in the game against North Carolina. You handle them. You beat Memphis. You just you're kind of like, oh man, this team's relatively good. I mean, they're really good because they just beat a lot of these teams in one of the most premier invitationals in college basketball. But also, I think that following week, Auburn was going to travel to Duke. Again, this was another primetime game, and it was a fun game. I mean, obviously Auburn lost the game, and if it wasn't for like a random kid coming off the bench shooting like six three or like six threes, I think it was. He had like 18 points. Like he was shooting out of his mind coming off the bench for Duke. If that doesn't happen, Auburn probably wins that game. Now, obviously, the refs were kind of meh, but Auburn definitely would have won that game if it wasn't for that. Because if that one player just has like half those points, then Auburn definitely could have like won that game. But it is what it is. I think you lost like by 4 or 5 points to Duke. Not a bad loss. It was a tough game anyway, and you knew it was going to be a tough game regardless. But you still went in, you handled business, and you got it done. Then you handle your your easy cupcake games that Auburn should win. Then you get the hoops giving. You have Ohio State, and it's not even a contest against Ohio State whatsoever. Like you completely manhandled Ohio State. Like it was just ridiculous what happened in that game. And then you also had Purdue in Birmingham. I was originally going to go to that game, but I just did not get a chance to get around to it. And I really wanted to go to that game because it was like right there in Birmingham. I'm close to Birmingham. It was just been fun to go to that game. And I mean, if you just looking at most of Auburn's record wins, I'm looking at them right now. They have basically scored over 80 points in every one of their games, except for the loss to Duke, the win over Iowa, the win over Houston, and that's it. That's it. But for the most part, whenever Auburn has scored 80 points or more, they've won the game. And then you had the game against Monmouth this past Monday. A little bit of a weird, slow start for Auburn. Monmouth came out ready to play, but it took a little bit of time to get going. But Auburn ultimately was able to get things going and just put them away for sure. Now, Auburn, let's be clear. Auburn should definitely be I may say this because I'm an Auburn fan, but Auburn's schedule. They should be the number one team, plain and simple. No disrespect to Tennessee or whatever, but like Auburn has like pretty much been in control for the large majority of their games, and they're boat racing teams. They should be the number one team, but there's always gonna be like bias and stuff like that. It is what it is. So tomorrow on Saturday, Auburn starts SEC play with Missouri. Now, Missouri, on the other hand, they have played. Let's see who they played. See if I can pull this up. Do this. Oh wait, all right, hold on. I gotta do this first. Okay. So Missouri Auburn get. I mean, obviously the predictor says enough right there as is a 93% chance to win against Missouri. If you look at Missouri's games, see if I can actually. They played Memphis. They lost to Memphis. Auburn beat them. Howard, Washington, Eastern Washington. Nobody really they beat Kansas. They beat number 1 Kansas. You can definitely give credit to that. This was Kansas on the road at Missouri, it looks like. Illinois, they lost to them. So you can definitely say Missouri is not all that battle tested compared to Auburn. They play a lot of pretty easy teams with their exception of their 2 losses that they have. And again, they beat Kansas, so definitely give credit to that. But Missouri, I felt Missouri is not really a threat. And it just this is just again, it should just be a game where Auburn easily handles their business. Because if you look at Auburn's upcoming schedule, they've got Missouri, and then they're on the road at Texas. They got on the road at South Carolina. Mississippi State probably could be 4-0 in the SEC conference play heading into Neville Arena. Georgia, Tennessee, that's going to be a massive matchup. You got them at your place. I think. Do you play? Oh no, this is the only time you play Tennessee. I think usually Auburn only plays Tennessee once a year anyway. You got Auburn has some tough teams to contend with this upcoming basketball SEC conference play, especially with the addition of Oklahoma and Texas. Is definitely. But listen, they're with the exception of Miles Kelly. I'm sorry, not Miles Kelly, but JP Pegues not really giving you much as you thought when you originally got him. I mean, for the most part, they offensively they've been really good. They have played their best ball offensively. I'm curious. I'm trying to think against if they've played their best defense all season. They probably have. I just can't think of a game where they have done it, but I think they've been really, really good. It's just their 3-point shooting is a little bit better. Free throw shooting is maybe a little bit better. Yeah. I mean, it's just I don't know what else to really say about this team. They should. I think it could be a little interesting the first 5 to 8 minutes against Missouri, depending on how things go, how whistles are blown and things like that. But I think overall, Auburn should easily handle this game. I don't know if it'll be a blowout or I could see this game potentially being Auburn winning by at least 12. I don't know what the point spread is, or what the spread is, but I think Auburn 12, 14 points. I can easily see Auburn winning. I think Missouri is a good basketball team. I'm not but I just don't think they are going to be able to handle the offensive juggernaut that is Auburn. Janai Broome has just been playing outstanding basketball for really 2 years in a row. You could probably go back to and say 3 years in a row, but he has definitely played himself some outstanding basketball. He should be a top 10 pick in the NBA draft this upcoming season, regardless of what happened with how Auburn finishes things out this college basketball season. When Janai Broome declares for the draft and goes and does the combine and everything like that, he definitely should be a top 10 NBA prospect. Could even be top 5 when it comes to that. So, he's averaging doubles a game. And the best thing about this team is that any given night, anybody can go off. Like you've seen games where Jedi Broom has gone off. You've seen games where Tahad Pettiford has gone off. Chad Baker Pizzara has gone off. Denver Jones, he gives you like a quiet 12, 13, 14 points each game. Chaney Johnson had himself a career game the other week when Janai Broom went out with the shoulder injury. And Miles Kelly has had himself a pretty good game. Like everybody, for the most part, has had an outstanding game. Now, I would love to see JP Pegues come along and just be able to add that extra offensive firepower to this roster. Ja'Kai Howard has been a human highlight reel since he, got out of the doghouse and has been playing a little bit more extra minutes. Chris Moore, say what you want about him offensively, but defensively, he gives you everything that you want when he's out there on the floor. He hustles, he gets the rebounds, he just does everything you want him to do. This team is very much unselfish. They definitely share the basketball, and it's just wild. I remember it was during the Maui Invitational, and it was either against North Carolina or Memphis, but like Auburn was just up so big. You heard the crowd chant, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, and the players were getting into it. They were dancing around. They were having fun. This is a very good Auburn basketball team. Now, are they going to lose some conference games? Yes. I don't think they're going to fly high throughout the entire conference schedule. I think there are going to be some interesting games that are on their schedule, like Florida. That's going to be an interesting game. You got Alabama, Tennessee, Mississippi State. So there's going to be some challenges for sure. But Auburn going into the SEC tournament definitely should be a double bye, maybe number one seed in the SEC tournament, double bye team for sure. And then March Madness wise, I think, bracketology, picks and stuff like that, or predictions, I think they have Auburn as one of the top 4 seeds. I don't know if anything will happen in the conference play that will. I guess if you just start losing a bunch of games, obviously that could change. But Auburn has so many quad 1 wins that, and what's a chance to add more into that resume that I think you could lose a couple of games in conference play and still be the number 1 seed. I don't know where the number 1 overall seed is this season. I'm pretty sure. Let's see. I wonder. I don't know if it'll actually tell me. So let me go back here. Oh, okay. Yeah. So if Auburn is the number 1 overall seed, their bracket would be in the South region, which would also include Atlanta. So they look like they're yeah. So there's a good chance Auburn could play some March Madness games in Atlanta, and if that happens, you can expect that entire basketball arena to be decked out in the orange and blue, because Auburn fans do travel, they do show up, and this team, this again, we still got a long ways to go. We got plenty of games to go before we get to that point. But listen, man, this could be the year that Auburn wins it all in men's basketball, as long as they keep playing how they're playing. And because with the seniors you have on this team, there's not going to be a moment in the game where you panic. It was a little bit of that against Duke, because the way Duke was shooting and the way Duke was playing, there was like a little bit of panic. But overall, you shouldn't have to worry about feeling pressure or anything like that. But we'll see. I feel very confident in this team, but we got a long ways to go before we really know what happens. But this team's really good. They are really good, and they start conference play tomorrow against Missouri. I think they'll win by at least 12, 14 points. I will have my quick small review of the game out on either probably Sunday morning. It's probably when I'll have it out. But guys, that's pretty much it. Thank you for hanging out, watching, and listening. Be sure you hit that like and subscribe button. But other than that, I will see you guys in the next video. Y'all have a good one.